The Art of Letting Him Burn, Part 2. Building the Fire. Mark thought he'd won. Elena could tell by the way he carried himself in the days that followed. Casual, unbothered, smug. He thought the conversation was over, that her silence meant surrender, that she had chosen to look the other way, as she always had when he smoothed his lies over with practiced ease. He didn't know silence could be a weapon. Elena smiled when he expected her to smile. She kissed his cheek when he left for work. She asked polite questions about his day, careful not to pry too deeply. And all the while, she studied him. Not with the eyes of a wife desperate to understand, but with the gaze of a strategist mapping out the battlefield. Her first step wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. She had given so much of herself away over the years, piece by piece, in the name of compromise. The hobbies abandoned because he'd called them silly, the friendships she'd let fade because he didn't like her spending too much time out. The way she'd stopped dressing for herself, started cooking only what he liked, learned to tread carefully around his moods. If she was going to take him apart, she needed to put herself back together first. So she started small. On Tuesday nights, she signed up for a ceramics class. She told him she was working late. He didn't question it. Why would he? He had his own late nights. Sitting at the wheel, clay cool and wet between her fingers, Elena felt something she hadn't in years. Alive. The clay spun, messy and imperfect, but hers. Every bowl she shaped, every curve she carved, reminded her she still had hands capable of creating, not just serving. Next came her friends. She reached out to Lila, her college roommate, who squealed through the phone when Elena suggested dinner. "I thought you disappeared off the face of the earth." Lila laughed when they met. "I almost did," Elena admitted, sipping her wine. Lila studied her, eyes softening. "You look different, stronger." Elena smiled faintly. "Give me time." Meanwhile, Mark remained blissfully oblivious. He came home later and later, his excuses thinner by the week. He scrolled through his phone at dinner, smirking at messages he thought she didn't see. He was too wrapped up in his new shiny thing to notice his old life slipping quietly from his grasp. Elena didn't confront him. She let him believe she was still there, tethered to him, orbiting his gravity. But every day she pulled a little further away. Her paycheck, once funneled into their joint account, began trickling into a separate one he didn't know about. She visited apartments under the guise of helping a friend look. She began sorting through their home, deciding what was truly hers and what she could leave behind. It wasn't about running, it was about preparing, because when she left, she wouldn't just walk out. She would leave him standing in the ashes of the world he thought he controlled. Her silence began to unnerve him. One night, as she curled up on the couch reading a book, Mark hovered nearby. "You've been different lately." She glanced up, expression neutral. "Different how?" He shifted. "I don't know. You're quieter." Elena closed her book, meeting his eyes with a calm that made him fidget. "Maybe you're just not paying attention." He frowned, but she offered no further explanation. She simply stood, kissed his cheek lightly, and went to bed. And that was when she saw it. The flicker of unease in his eyes. Good, she thought. Let him feel what it's like to doubt, to wonder, to lose footing. At ceramics class the following week, Elena sculpted a vase. She pressed her fingers into the clay, shaping it with careful pressure, knowing exactly where to push and where to ease off. She thought of Mark. Revenge, she realized, wasn't about a single blow. It was about patience, about shaping the outcome with precision until the final form was undeniable. And she was just getting started.